So, welcome back. The city of Kumasi woke up to the very devastating story on Monday of the death of a nurse, a community health nurse, who was celebrated for her humanity and her hard work. She's been following up on many cases for patients. In fact, later on in the interview, you hear from people who knew her as to why her death has been quite tragic. But the death is not isolated. So it appears in the past 1 year, there have been series of killings of women of a particular age group in various parts of the Ashanti region. We'll map that out for you. But before we talk about that and also tell you who our guests are, I just want to show you some of the high-profile, unresolved deaths that have occurred in Ghana since the year 2014. And I think most of you in the media would remember the case of a young man who's been in the entertainment sector. He was killed in 2014. His death has still not been resolved. His name is Fenek Ochre. He was killed in March. People were arrested. He was found stabbed at home in Sakumono. That appears to be the first of many in the past few weeks. Apart from Fenek Ochre, there's also been the death of the Member of Parliament for Ebuakwa North, who is the Honorable J.B. Dankwa Edu. He was killed on the 9th of February 2016. That's 4 years ago. In fact, today being the 9th, it's actually exactly 4 years since J.B. Dankwa Edu was murdered, or the 10th, so it's a day after. So in fact, if his family were minded to do a ceremony, this is exactly 4 years when somebody killed him in his own bedroom at East Legon. So Fenek Ochre was killed in his own house. Fenek Ochre is an entertainment critic, artist manager. He was killed in March 2014. J.B. Dankwa Edu was killed 4 years ago this week. 4 years ago this week. So far, one person has been arrested. His case has been dragging, and the proper case has not even started. We spent 4 years deciding whether he's sane or not for trial. Now, other high-profile killings, of course, this is more recent. Nene Achure Benta. Nene is the caretaker chief of Pram Pram. He was killed at Dodowa, December 2018. He was shot in his car whilst he drove to a site. So far, the case has not been resolved. Reverend David Nabem Magdo was also killed at his church by a close relative. Somebody has been arrested, but the matter hasn't come to a conclusion. We also have other cases. So, for example, we have the case of the GPHA Public Affairs Manager, Josephine Asante. Now, she was killed at Mataheko in Tema on the 13th of January 2019. One person was arrested, the houseboy. There have been samples taken from him, and there have been different issues raised, but full trial has not commenced yet on this particular case. Now, in the same year, July 25, a Ghanaian went missing on a Chinese vessel. His family now fears him dead. Imono Asian is his name. And of course, we know the high-profile case of the Takrady girls. 3 girls gone missing, presumed dead by the police. The police say they found remains in a septic tank at the house of the main suspect, Samuel Udotok Wales. 4 girls now, the case may be, as the case is. So none of the girls have been found. The family believes that the skeleton or the remains do not belong to their girls, but the police say that the skeletons belong to them. Now, apart from these high-profile ones, there have been others as well. So, in October last year, Mark Ofori. Now, Mark is the Takrady constituency chairman of the MPP. He was also shot close to his house. The matter hasn't been resolved yet. Now, even before this, in April 2018, somebody who works for the Africa World Airlines in the name Prince Kwabena Kumi was found dead between Akroso and Esuboy. Some people believe he was beaten by security operatives. The story has gone back and forth. As we speak, the family is yet to find justice. Now, in Ashanti region on the 9th of February last year, which is also coincidentally a year and a day ago today, Noah Apiate, Delex Finance employee, killed. So this week is the gruesome anniversary of two, JB Dankwa Edu and Noah Apiate. Noah was also killed on the 9th of February 2019. But of all the cases, one of the most high profile is the one involving Ahmed Hussein Swale, who was an investigator with Tiger IPI. He was killed last year in January, within the same period. Now, all these cases we put for you have different legal lengths in terms of where they've gotten to. So what I'm going to do first is to update you on where these cases have gotten to. Our legal correspondent, Fred Tejabano, has been speaking to a member of the Point of View team, Anna Sedu, on where these cases have gotten to in court. Don't forget, JB Dankwa Edu is 4 years old. Noah Apia is a year old. Some of the cases are in between. We have the GPHA case and stuff. So Fred is going to update us on which courts these matters are in, what the various sides are pleading, and how come not even one of them has been resolved.
There have been a number of unresolved murder cases recorded in the country from 2015. In some cases, we've seen some suspects arrested. Some are in court, but in some of the murder cases, they are yet to put people before a judge. I have here with me Fred Jabano, our court correspondent, to go through some of these high-profile murder cases in the country. Fred, welcome.
Thank you, Anas.
Let's start from 2015. Adam Mahama, the then Upper East Regional Chairman of the MPP. What can you tell us about that case?
Yes, Adam Mahama was murdered in Bogatanga in 2015. We are told, what we hear in court, or the facts read in court, that there was acid poured on him by the suspects. When this incident happened back then in 2015, one suspect was picked up. That is Gregory Afoko, the brother of the former national chairman of the MPP, Paul Afoko. Gregory Afoko was picked up and sent to court. At the time, we were told that there was one person who was still on the run. Gregory Afoko went through the entire court process from committal at the district court to the high court. He went through trial and getting to the last stage of the trial where the lawyers, both prosecution and defense, were about to file the submissions to the court, then a judgment would have been given. The state came to court to file a nolli prosequi, meaning they wanted to discontinue the case. So they discontinued the case. According to the state at the time, they had arrested the second person, who is Asake Alangi. This Asapke Alangi guy is the gentleman who had been on the run for about 2 years while the case was ongoing. The committal process had to begin once again, so they went back to the district court. They've moved from the district court to the high court, where full trial is expected to begin. But as we speak now, we are just going through the normal motions and proceedings with trials at the high court. So there's a jury which has already been selected, and we are expecting that in the coming months, the trial itself will begin in earnest.
But there were some issues about his bail. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yes, with the issue of his bail, after he was released or after the case was discontinued by the state, he filed a bail application and he was granted bail by the High Court. But then he was kept with the police for a very long time, even though he had a bail granted to him. That matter was not resolved till the trial court overturned the decision of the other court, which granted him bail. So now he's in the custody of the police.
In 2016, we recorded another death. That was the murder of the then MP for Ebuakwan of JB Dankwa Edu. How did that happen? How has the case traveled?
JB Dankwa Edu was murdered in his house at Shiashi. We are told that he had returned from town not long after, where the two people came into the house and murdered him at dawn. This case also, a gentleman was arrested. His name is Samuel Esedu, popularly known as Sexy Don Don. He was arrested and he was sent through a court process. During the process, there was another suspect who was arrested, Vincent Boso. Vincent Boso was also put before court. After a long period of committal and sent to the High Court, committal proceedings were going on, and they were getting ready to commit them to the High Court for full trial to begin. The state once again came in to file a nolli prosequi to discontinue the case. They started the process again from the committal process, and now they are the High Court. At the High Court, as we speak now, what is happening is that we have lawyers for these to examine or questioning some report from the medical personnel who conducted a test on Samuel Esiedu, because his lawyer raised issues of him being not mentally stable and having mental problems, mental health issues. The report was ready, the doctors cleared him, but now the doctor is still undergoing a cross-examination by the defense lawyers to be able to put across his report and present his report to the court, which will be adopted. So that's the case with J.B. Dankwa. J.B. Dankwa's case is still ongoing at the trial court, and we are at the stage, still at the early stages of the case.
One other thing we do know is that the wife of the late J.B. Dankwa actually wrote alleging that some officials of CID who were probing the case had made sexual advances against her. The then IGP, David Asante-Appiah, actually came put together a committee to look into the matter. As it stands now, we don't know how that case ended. Let's go to 2017, talk about Major Maxwell Mahama. What can you tell us about it?
Major Maxwell Mahama was killed somewhere in the central region. We are told that he was on his jogging on his normal regular exercising routine when some group of people within the community pounced on him, suspecting that he was a robber or was a part of a robbery group which had come to attack the residents in the area at the time. Major Maxwell Mahama, a number of people were arrested. When the case initially broke, over 60 people were arrested. They were sent to the district court. As and when time went on during the committal processes, people were released. Now we have about 7 to 8 people left facing trial. This trial, I might say, that had taken a long time, but now it's at an advanced stage. As we speak now, the last prosecution witness, which is the investigator in this particular case, is now undergoing cross-examinations by the defense counsels. And when that is done, we'll see what will happen, whether the people or the defense will be asked to open their defense, or the case would continue where judgment will be given. But this case actually has reached a far advanced stage and would come to a close very soon.
2018, Josephine Asante, an employee of GPHA, was murdered. What else do we know? How far has the process of trial gone?
As we speak now, some people are facing trial. They are also at the district court going through committal process. And it must be noted, in cases such as murder, there's a proceeding which you usually follow. The court proceeding is, the first part is that sometimes you are put before a district court, which is the committal court. During this committal process, what the court is looking for is to be able to get a prima facie case, an evidence against you. When an evidence is found against you, you are now committed to the High Court, where trial would begin in earnest. So at the trial, you have a jury set up, and your case is heard by the jury and the judge. In this particular case, we are still at the committal process. The suspects are still at the district court facing committal. After committal, they'll be put to the High Court for full trial. So that's what it is when we get to the issue of the GPHA lady who was murdered.
Let's talk about the 3 or 4 Takoradi girls who were kidnapped and later declared dead by the police. How far with that case?
There are about 2 people facing trial at the court. Just last week, these people were facing charges of kidnapping. Just last week, the state went to the High Court where they were to file a discontinuation of the case. They filed a nolli prosequi. According to them, they found new evidence which proved that indeed there could be another charge of murder. So they've ended the case of kidnapping. They've re-arrested the people, and they've been put before a district court where they are also undergoing committal process, so they could be committed to the High Court for trial to begin.
Well, in 2019, we also had Ahmed Swali, an investigator with Tiger IPI, who was murdered by some unknown assailant. As we speak now, official record by the police indicates that 13 people have been questioned, including Anas Arimia Anas, Asin Central MP Kennedy Japan, with one of the suspects on remand. That's what we know. But there's not been any indication that there's somebody before a judge for the murder of Ahmed Swale.
So that was my one of my production team members, Anas Seidu, speaking to Fred Jabano. So if you add Major Mahama to the Adam Mahama, who is the former MPP regional chair, that brings the number to about 15. So we've mentioned JB Dankwa Edu. He was killed February 9, 2016. And if you're watching this show in the evening, today is February the 10th. So that should tell you that it's been 4 years. Fenekochi was killed on March 14. Nobody has been tried. There's even no trial, right? And of course, Makofori, Takrady Constituency Chairman MPP, 31st October. Noah Apiate, former employee of Dalex, killed a year and a day ago to the February 9th. So today is a day to discuss these things. Now, let me now take you to Kumasi, because what has triggered today's program is not just these unresolved murders. There's also a string of killings in the Ashanti region over the past 12 months, which have raised concern. The first one occurred in March 2019 at Abrepo. Now, the story says residents of Abrepo within Ashanti metropolis, Kumasi metropolis, were thrown into a state of shock after waking up to the bodies of two middle-aged women dumped near a stream in the community. The bodies were stripped almost naked. One of the residents, Reverend Stephen Osewusu, who spoke to the Graphic Online, said about 6 a.m. on the Thursday, some students who used the back of his house to school screamed that the body was lying there. He said the students went first to the scene, and following their shouts, he went to ascertain the truth. According to him, when he got there, he saw a body of a fair lady lying supine with her trousers almost pulled down, exposing a private part with blood oozing from her mouth. He said he tested the pulse and realized that she was still alive and very faint. A few minutes later, he heard other shouts of another body lying not too far from the first one. The second body was found in a kneeling position with the chest and face down to the floor with no underwear. According to him, the bodies were not known faces in the community, and they believed they might have been killed somewhere and dumped there. The bodies were carried away to the police morgue. This is March 2019 at Abrepo. So far, we haven't heard anything else. Second case, May 2019, Augustina Tindanzo. The suspected murder of a 21-year-old lady at Ahima Kokobing news site, Kumasi, has added to a string of mysterious deaths, especially of women in the city. The body of a former student of St. Louis Senior High School, Augustina Tindanzo, was found Wednesday morning after she left home for work and never returned. And then the details are given. When the father's finances could not support Augustina after she completed SHS in 2016, she sought solace in a drug shop business through the benevolence of the shop owner who took her as a daughter. She would go to the mistress's house and pass the night there anytime she closes from shop late. But as fate will have it, she decided to spend the night at her father's house, where she had taken the role of a wife and daughter, taking care of her siblings after the demise of her mom a year ago. Her traumatized father, Azuma Tindanzo, warned neighbors to assist the police to trace the killers of his daughter. My daughter's death is painful. I am devastated. What did I do wrong to suffer such a fate? I could have sacrificed my life for her, he told Inshira FM in Kumasi. According to him, he thought the shop attendant of a drug shop had gone to spend the night with the proprietor, only to discover she had been killed. Augustina's bag was first found on the blocks, followed by her body under the tree. Residents found her dressing bag abandoned on a parked concrete block before the body was found in a bush. So Augustina was killed in May 2019. Then the third one, this is still in Kumasi. This one is at a place called Santasi Apiri. July 2019, Santasi Apiri. And the story is on Daily Mail GH. It says, in what appears to be a series of unresolved murders, the body of a woman, another woman, was on Thursday, July 18, 2019, found at Santasi Apiri, near the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi. Her body lay lifeless in a plantain farm a few kilometers from Christian Village, a popular neighborhood in the community. The lady in her 30s was confirmed dead at the scene by officers who have visited the scene. The yet to be identified woman had been conveyed to the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital for preservation and autopsy. The latest incident brings the number of suspected cases to 5. And then they give some background. In July 2017, a similar incident was recorded in the area, throwing residents into a state of shock. The lifeless body of the yet to be identified woman was found on Saturday, July 16, 2019. She has sustained a number of serious injuries and was pronounced dead at the scene by officers from the Suntreso Police Command. This is July 2019. Then in August, Asampong Hene or Heneba Kwejo Afodjo also killed. Now, this Asampong Hene's case is the first man in the series we are bringing you. But his case has also not been resolved because that story occurred outside Kumasi. Now, the Ashanti Regional Police Command is suspecting murder in the death of Oheneba Kojo Abofo, I believe the name is, Oheneba Kojo Afodjo, the Asampong Hene of Kumasi, who was found dead at the backseat of a Land Cruiser vehicle at the outskirts of Ebuom, a farming community on the Ejirang-Koranza Road. The deceased is reported to have been stabbed multiple times by his yet-to-be-identified assailants, and the body has since been deposited at Komfo-Anokye. Information gathered by GN indicates that the hands and legs of the late Oheneba Afodbo, who is Asante Hene Otumfo Setutu II's Asampong Hene, were tied with ropes when his lifeless body was retrieved. Additionally, there were also signs to suggest that the assailants, after the gruesome act, attempted to set the deceased body ablaze in order to erase any form of evidence and clues. Assistant Superintendent of Police Godwin Ahianyo, in charge of the Regional Police Public Relations Unit, confirming the death to media personnel in Kumasi, appealed for public support to help apprehend those behind the murder. He said the command had launched an inquiry into the death, saying they were determined to get to the bottom of the matter. And this happened, as I said, in August 2019. Of course, this person is from Kumasi, but he was on his way to Nkoranza. Now, there are 2 more stories. There's one Comfort Owusue Friye, who was killed at a hotel. And this one, we have a short report for you, which Hafiz put together. If I have it, I'll show it quickly. This report has to do with a woman killed in a hotel, Comfort Owusue Friye. And her body was deposited at the Asafo Boache Specialist Hospital. If we have that report, we'll air it for you. It's a short report because that one, there was a suspected issue of some man close to her killing her. If I have that, I'll play. Then I'll bring you finally to Ruth Eshan. Ruth being the latest killing, which has brought the nurses in Ghana up in arms. So, yes, let's go to Hafiz's report.
This is the exact place we are told the late Ruth Ama Ishon, the 37-year-old nurse who worked at the Sewa Health Center, was allegedly murdered and dumped here. We're also told that she struggled with these assailants before they were able to perpetrate that dastardly act. And this place we are is a path she's been using to work. Usually her husband drops her at the workplace, but sometimes when he's not able to, she uses this place because this is shorter to where she can find vehicle to her workplace. We have come here to speak to relatives or relatives of the deceased to find out from them how they received this news and what they want to be done about this incident. Let me go close and speak to husband of the late nurse. How did you receive this news about the death of your wife?
So on Monday, when I came home around 5:30, my wife had not reported. Our first 2 children had come back from school. They were at home. I was worried because my wife usually comes back home latest by 5 p.m. But I go home around 5:30 and she wasn't home. So I started making calls to find out what was happening. Earlier in the day, she told me she will be going to Kumasi to withdraw some money. So initially, I thought she had been held up in traffic. But when I realized she was not coming, I went to pick our last born who attends school just close by. I came back home around 7 and she had still not come back. I made several calls. At 9 o'clock, I had to go to the police and make a report of a missing person. So when I got the extract, the whole night, I moved from police stations and hospital emergency centers all over Kumasi. So when I got to Manshia Emergency Center, I got a call from a nephew whom I stay with, or who stay with us. She told me that they have found the banknote and the voter ID card of my wife in a bush just close by our house. After that call, within few minutes, I received another call asking me to quickly come back home. So I got really worried and I sensed a danger. Then after a few minutes, another call came with somebody crying on the phone. Obia Kumruto. That's where I got to know that my wife has been murdered. I want swift investigation. I want very swift investigation to be done. I know they're trying to do their best. They were here on Tuesday, Friday. They brought the accused person around, the only accused person they have arrested, and conducted what they called a crime scene reconstruction. But I still see the investigation to be slow.
The death of Ruth Ama Eshon, a mother of 3, who many have spoken positively about, came as a shock not only to her relatives but also to the health fraternity in Ghana. Her death has risen the statistics of the number of women murdered under mysterious circumstances to 6 from 2019. This has sparked outrage, especially on social media, as many are calling for justice. One notable group pushing this agenda is the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association.
In fact, ever since the occurrence of her death, we have been having meetings with the police. Last Friday, we were here and we made to understand that we should come today for a briefing. And that's exactly why we are here. So we are all here to ensure that the needed justice is given to our colleague who have died so suddenly.
You just finished a meeting with the police. What's the assurance for you?
Yeah, you know, they are the people that are being mandated by the state to ensure that our safety are being cared. And as such, they are the people that will only unravel the mystery behind this death of our colleague. And from the interactions that we have had with them, we are very sure and positive that they will make a headway.
Although the police will not give further and official information since the incident occurred, they have only confirmed the arrest of one person. At the Sewa Health Center, where the late nurse worked, red bands were tied at every corner of the facility. Health workers here could not hold back their tears when officials from the Ashanti Regional Health Directorate, led by the regional director, went to the facility to commiserate with them.
We all heard the calamity that has befallen the health system in this country. A nurse who has closed from work and is going back home, to be killed in that manner is unacceptable. And the healthcare fraternity is really concerned about it. So we are here to motivate and encourage them on behalf of the minister and then the director general that the police are on the investigations. So we should remain very calm. Everybody should remain very calm while the investigation is going on, so that we can continue to do the work that we've been assigned to do. We should remain very strong and courageous at this time. And then we shouldn't fear because anytime we panicked, it will disturb the work. Most of the work that we do here is basically home visits, sometimes going from community to community. So the moment they feel threatened, it will affect the way they deliver the service. So we want to encourage them to stand firm. And we are pleading to the police to expedite the investigations so that the culprits will be apprehended. And then the necessary justice will be done to the family, to the health system, and Ministry of Health in general in this country.
Police in the Ashanti region say they are still investigating the suspect who is in their custody now, and they are also reaching out to husband of the deceased to assist them in their investigations. For now, they want to hold on until they follow up on those leads they are picking, and also when they get full details of the facts and they are able to speak to the media. Reporting from Kumasi, I am Hafiz Tijani for City News.
So that was Hafiz Tijani, our Ashanti Regional Correspondent. So far we've tried to tell you the story of murders starting 2014, no resolution, and even there's a court case, it hasn't been resolved. The most prominent being JB Dankwa-Edu, who was killed on February 9, 2016. When we come back, we'll speak to some of the nurses. The association is not happy. And the social media campaign is describing the death of Ruth Eshen in a very gruesome way. We'll talk to a rep of the nurses in studio here with us. We also have other reports of other murders for you. And our team has also tried to map out the vicinities within Kumasi where this occurred. And they have come up with some interesting findings that they will be showing us. And the team that's been working on this will join us to try and understand why these murders appear to be happening so frequently and why nothing seems to be concluded on all of them. This is the point of view. Stay with us. Welcome to the point of view. So today we are talking about justice for Ruth and Ruth Eshen, killed a week ago today, Monday the 3rd in Kumasi. And she's a nurse at the Sewa Medical Center. And we've shown you images of 5 different women killed in the Ashanti region in the past 1 year. Just a quick reminder, in Abrepo, March 2016, 2 ladies killed, no resolution. In May 2016 at Ahenema Kokobin, Augustina Tindanzo, SSS graduate working in a drugstore, killed. Her bag found near cement blocks, no resolution. July 2019, Bliss Quindi, killed at Santasi Epire, no resolution. August 2019, Asamponghene, Ohineba Kojo Efuduo, he was on his way to Nkranza, shot, stabbed. They attempted to burn him. There's a Comforto Usu story I'll bring to you later. Hers is a different case because it was at a hotel and she's in her mid-40s and we have a report on that. But let's talk about Ruth Eshen. So I have in studio now Prince Frimpong, who's the Greater Accra Regional Secretary of Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. We've seen a social media campaign. In fact, the first time I heard of this story was on social media. Prince, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
And let me say commiserations to you, condolences on the death of Ruth. Why are nurses in Ghana and midwives so angry over this particular case?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me say a very good evening to your cherished viewers and listeners, and also the well-meaning nurses and midwives in Ghana for that matter. Condolences to them and the bereaved family as well. Actually, the President, General Secretary, and other National Executive members would have loved to be here, but currently they are out of Accra, hence being mandated to, standing for them. Yes, nurses and midwives in Ghana, we are very mad about this because, one, it's very difficult getting graduates to work in the rural areas or the hinterlands, graduates in general. Even when it comes to the nursing profession, it's very difficult. Most nurses and midwives at times refuse postings to those places. but you get well-meaning nurses and midwives who accept postings to these communities to render healthcare to the members or the general public for that matter. And if nurses and midwives, in spite of all these challenges, accept postings to such communities to render service to humanity or Mother Ghana, and are met with such challenges or such brutalities, then it doesn't augur well for the profession at all. And we've been quiet for a very long time, let me put it that way, probably because our profession is a noble one, it's a noble profession. So most of the time there are so many issues that crop up, but by the nature of our training, we at times keep cool or keep calm. This is not the first time such a thing is happening. And from all the things that you brought on board, even not nurses, other, people, were murdered. But as we speak now, nothing, we've not gotten headway with that. And we are also afraid that some nurses have been killed, time passed. We also heard nothing about that. And
so is it that the nurses feel she was killed because she was a nurse? Because we are seeing comments like the police are not moving quickly enough. And then there have been other descriptions about how she was killed. Some are even alleging she was raped, but we don't have the evidence. But on the social media stream, what are you hearing, and why do you feel that 3 or 4 days after her murder, you don't seem to have seen much action?
What becomes so worrisome is the fact that even today in the news, we realizing the crime scene was set ablaze. I, for instance, think in a particular community, a very small community where nurses and midwives are well known to the community, such, incidents shouldn't happen. And in the first place, yes, she's a nurse, but under no circumstance should any human being be subjected to what, happened to our dear colleague nurse. Under no circumstance. So it's not a matter of she being a nurse. Yes, we are all nurses and we are solidarizing with our colleague, because if others are refusing postings to such communities and there is a nurse with 3 kids and a husband have accepted posting to that place for such, cruel, thing to be passed on to her, it's not the best. And moreover, just as I stated, we've been quiet. A nurse in the northern region, a male nurse on his motorbike to work was shot.
When was this?
Somewhere last 2 years. And as we speak now, nobody was arrested. A nurse in western region was, lifeless body was found in a Galamsey pit in western region. As we speak now, we've not...
How far back is this?
That one to last 2 years.
Wow.
Yes. In February 22nd, 2018, a nurse, a midwife at Sontreso Government Hospital also was murdered. Fortunately, let me put it that way, at Outrage Hospital, that place, it was an armed robbery attack, and nobody was arrested in that regard. So looking at the series or sequence of happenings, we nurses and midwives feel threatened. Today, it's not me. It's not my wife. It's not a sibling. But I don't know when it is going to be me. So if we should sit down quietly, then it's...
So I have understated the murders I showed. There are 3 other nurses 2 years ago that I have not even added to the list I showed.
Yes. Even on 28th January 2016.
Wow.
Yasika Dankwa also was murdered and dumped at the Dompoase landfill.
So hold on. This Yasika Dankwa 2016.
Yeah, a nurse.
A male nurse in the northern region 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Another nurse in the western region.
Yeah. A male nurse.
2018.
Yeah.
Before Ruth.
Yeah.
So 4 nurses in 4 years.
Yeah.
And were all these people on their way to or from work?
Some, the incident happened like the western region. The nurse who was dumped in the Galamsey pit, we couldn't ascertain exactly what happened, whether he was from work, whether he was killed somewhere and dumped in there. But the fact that they have accepted postings to these places, there are even some nurses, they are not murdered. But, in the line of duty, some get drowned, in the lake and the others. And we think security-wise, nurses and midwives ought to be protected.
We'll come back to that. Now, let's bring in Anna Sedu, who's our security correspondent. You've been following the Kumasi cases. What have you found so far? Because apart from the NES angle, there's also the fact that we've had about 6 Kumasi cases. What have you found so far, and what have the police said?
Before I get to the reaction from the police, what I can say is that if you look at the period between which these 6 cases happened, it's like the interval of 2 months. 2 months. So you record the first case in January 2019. The second case happened in March 2019. There's a third case that happened in May 2019. There's another one in May.
In July.
There were 2.
Okay.
Then in July, you have one other person involved. So it tells you that
January, March, May, July. Every 2 months there's something.
Every 2 months there's a case. It means after the first 2 cases, when the third one happened, somebody, I mean the police service, was supposed to draw a particular trend of crime within the area so that we don't record the third and fourth one that we have recorded. Because in January when it happened, it was a single case. It happened again in March. In May, the first one happened. Somebody was supposed to be drawing some kind of trend saying, look, we have people who are living among us or people who have informants within us who come here to do their job and go away. They sat down. The second one happened again in May. Then there's a July one. And what we are talking about today, it tells you that somebody didn't do his work.
But how close are these areas? Because we've mentioned Abrepo, Ahinema Kokobin, and all these kinds of places. What have you found in terms of the distance between?
If you look at these places geographically, people who know Kumasi very well, you understand that these are towns or areas within a particular locality. For instance, if you take a map, you realize that a radius of about 9 kilometers will capture these places that recorded these 6 instances
Can you show that to us?
Because unresolved murders.
So you did a Google map plotting of the places that these murders occurred.
Yes.
And you're saying that if you take Kumasi and you draw a 9-kilometer radius, you would find that these communities are
they are within a 9-kilometer radius, which tells you that it's either the people perpetrating these crimes are living within, or they have people who harbor them to come and do this particular thing. So it's on the screen. This tells you that
Abrepo, Santase, Apire, Kokobin, Ahenema, Kokobin, Eyuom. So if you put the compass point in a place like Amakum, these kilometers, these are not exactly the same place. And of course, there was one that occurred on the way to Nkranza. But it's an interesting map. So March 2019, July 2019, May 2019, January and May 2019, February 2020. This is what we are seeing. So Eyuom is a bit further. Wow, this is interesting. So this is the other thing you found.
Yes. So let's go to the police. What happened when about 2 months ago when Accra Police Command announced that they had killed or gunned down some suspected robbers in a shootout? One of the robbers was arrested in Oyibi. He was questioned. His accomplice was arrested at Suotum. The other one, who was on the run, was nearly arrested at Ashaiman. It tells you that they are not living at one place to do this particular thing. They are scattered and they come together to perpetrate this particular crime. Talking about the police not responding, the kind of policing we practice in Ghana, it's always very difficult now for senior officers to come and tell the public, this is what we know and this is what we have done.
So when you called the Ashanti Regional Police, what did they say?
They are not yet in a position to respond or to give
on this particular case. What about the old cases? Or because it's high profile, they will not comment at all?
They will not comment because you have constables, junior ranking officers in the field who are supposed to go and do the job. They will not do the proper job. come back and give you the wrong briefing. So if you come to speak to the media, the next day it turns out to be something else, then you, the one who spoke to the media, will be held responsible.
What about the Ashanti Regional Minister? What has he been saying to you guys?
We spoke to the Ashanti Regional Minister on Eyewitness News. And if you look at his posture and demeanor about what really happened, you realize that whilst we here think this is a major case that the security services should be doing a lot of work in there, they think it is one of those normal things that's happening. Yes,
if you
look at the way he put himself, this is, for instance, the murder case that happened in the hotel. Any murder case should be treated seriously because there's somebody who should be tried, who is against the state in court, and a pronouncement should be made on such a person. If the person loses the case in court, he is going in, or they will pronounce that he should also be killed. So it should be the interest of the regional security, the person in charge of regional security, and other affiliated bodies to ensure that there's neither seriousness is actually attached to cases like this.
And in the interview, he didn't seem to, you didn't get the impression that he was?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. For instance, Bernard, looking at the trend, or even this particular case, there was supposed to be an emergency RECSEC meeting. He was supposed to receive briefs from the police and other people associated with security in the region and come out to tell the people what they know so far. This thing happened about 4 days ago. We are yet to receive...
So there's not been a press conference by the police yet on the matter of Ruth?
Not yet.
So
they are yet to answer
your
questions.
leaders in Ashanti, have they gone to the police?
Yes.
And what has the police been telling them?
They've been there. The police told them from the information that came down is they are still investigating the matter. And just as the Ashanti Regional PRO stated, the police are mandated by the state to carry out investigations and give us information. We nurses or no other agency have that power to do that. So we are relying solely on the police. That is why we are seeking justice for Ruth, because some crimes have been committed unattended to. And we don't want this particular situation to be the same as the others. We want swift action, investigation into the matter for the perpetrators to be brought to book.
This is the point of view. We're trying to unravel what is now dozens of killings that have occurred in the past 4 years. J.B. Danko Edu being the most high-profile former member of parliament, Ebuakwa North, killed on the 9th of February 2016. There have been over 15 different murders in different parts of the country. We've traced 6 in the Ashanti region in a 9-kilometer radius that have occurred in the past year, not yet resolved. When we come back, we'll take you to another one, which we have not put on the list, because that's pretty different. That of Comfort Owusu, Efree, that occurred less than a month ago in Denyami. And of course, we'll read some of your comments as well. This is the point of view. Don't go away. Welcome back to the point of view. Tonight we're trying to show you the myriads of killings that have occurred in different parts of the year and the fact that they've not been resolved. So far, I've been speaking to the Greater Accra chairman of the Ghana Residents Association. I also have Anas Seidu from my team. We've shown you about 5 different stories from Kumasi. Let me show you a 6th one. This occurred in a hotel, and it's rather bizarre how the incident occurred. Our reporter, Hafiz Tinyani, came through this report as well.
The death of 46-year-old Comfort Owusu, popularly called Mamiya, came as a shock to relatives and residents at Asafo. She was allegedly shot dead by her boyfriend at the Cedar Crescent Hotel at Denyami in Kumasi. The suspect, 42-year-old Edwin Ewuku, who is a worker at the Bank of Ghana, is currently in police custody and assisting in investigations. Police in the Ashanti region denied earlier reports that the deceased and her boyfriend were attacked while lodging at the hotel.
Police investigations into an alleged murder of a woman at the Cedar Crescent Hotel at Denyami here in Kumasi indicates that the deceased was shot and killed by the suspect Edwin Ewuku, 42. the boyfriend who checked in into the hotel with the victim. There was no armed robbery attack at the hotel, as was reported by the complainant, who is the wife of the suspect.
Deceased relatives want justice to prevail.
Any commander, we are saying, many now say, it was study me Beman and Siabe family banner walk on. Me die a poor man training yes, so into Miss Ren and Echo for the Tanafo. So I said, where the days into where the Miss Ray, you whom mobile. Lady across the bed, money, I didn't feel Piadra. Quabia was said in the Fasubia, young fan and Faso mammy. Well, Yamin young coming and son. Aqua says, 7 years, boy.
The deceased daughter, Adjoa Bwachua, also spoke to City News.
I know my mom not to be an outing type. My mom doesn't make friends. She doesn't like me question Madame Fouye and say. So sometimes, if I tell her, Mom, I'm going to visit a friend, she gets angry at me that she wouldn't allow me to go. So my mom is not an outing type. And then what I'm hearing, the news speculating outside, I wanted to get clear to them that my mom, my mother, comfort whosoever say for ye, Mamiya is not an outing type. She doesn't go out. She doesn't make friends. So I'm begging them that they should stop.
So that was a report from Hafiz. Let's read some of your comments. Peter from Wawa says, Bernard, as the GRNA Greater Accra Secretary, the way forward for the association to show our displeasure against this horrific act, the health directorate must consider closing health facilities in that directorate to register our displeasure, which will serve as a deterrent to other unscrupulous people. Anything else from this will only turn out like Major Mahama and the missing Takoradi girls and the rest. Can you imagine that up to now, no press release from the government? Okay, there's a press release from the Ghana Health Service, which, if I have the time, I will show. Bernard, nurses and midwives are very mad about this incident because it's directly linked to their work. She died in a line of duty. She was actually returning from work from Wisdom at Tivo in Dansoman. Good evening, Bernard. Sad spectacle as you chronicle these murders. Bernard, you're a blessing to this country. Keep up the good work. More comments. Bernard, the criminals or murderers are emboldened in their activities because they know nothing can be done to them, because they know that our prosecution process in this country is too slow to deal with them. Prince from Kofredia says, my deepest condolences to the bereaved families of those murdered, and I'm pleading with Ghana police to expedite investigations to bring perpetrators to book. Kwame in Sawam, hello Bernard, how many police were killed and the killers were not found? This is Ghana for you. Malowin from Takrady, it's sad that the state hasn't shown any form of alacrity in finding justice for the deceased persons. How can we live in an unsecure country like this? Bernard, Ghana is seriously bleeding. More comments. Joe from Punkatamanso. This is widespread. This is more widespread than we hear. I was in Takrady in November last year, and I realized the issue there goes beyond the 3 girls. My mom kept warning me not to give lift to anyone, and people wouldn't pick taxis midway unless from the taxi rank. I asked around, and I was told the killing and kidnappings are more rampant than is reported. Mustafa from Osei Kusi Loa Manya Krobo. Please, what is happening in this country is not good. Let's pray for God's mercy. And meanwhile, Monday Unaifa says, Bernard, your outfit is on a different level. Keep it up, my guy. Well, it's from Click and Dimples. Prince, quick comments. Somebody wanted to know what's your next line of action. When are you waiting to hear from the police? In 30 seconds.
Just as the Ashanti Regional PRO stated, and I'm re-emphasizing swiftly, we want response within the shortest possible time. Because just as, we stated earlier on, it was in a line of duty when, Ruth was murdered. So we are not giving no timeline, but within the shortest possible time.
Thank you. Anas, final comment.
Bernard, the biggest motivation to crime is when previous ones go unpunished. So the police must act.
Fantastic. Anas Sedu is one of my producers. He's also on our security desk following so many cases, over 15 unresolved. And of course, Mr. Prince Frimpong, who's the Greater Accra Regional Secretary, of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Now, thank you for watching this edition of The Point of View. My name is Bernard Avile. Stay safe, stay with City TV, and see you next time. Bye-bye. Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed this video on City TV's YouTube channel. Subscribe for more videos on The Point of View. My name is Bernard Avile. Thank you.
The Point of View with Bernard Avile, Monday and Wednesday nights, only on City TV.